And today we're talking about main idea. This is for analyzing relationship between sources. So we got a couple sources here that you may have in front of you. You got this long explanation. Well, it's not super long. You have this poster and you have this chart with a little bit of explanation. So main idea, you really got to be able to tell the main idea if you're going to be able to use these sources together. You got to have main idea of one, main idea of another, so that you can use them together. So you got to understand the source first. And we've done a few things to help you. So let's look at, we got document 1, document 2, and document 3. So let's start out here with document 2 here, this poster. It says recruitment poster for women. Women provided much needed labor during World War II. And in the poster it says do the job he left behind. And it says apply U.S. Employment Service. So what I'm going to do is I want you to take a little bit of time on your paper. I want to write out what you think the main idea is. So just get an idea of what you are doing already. So I'm going to start this little timer here for 2 minutes, and I want to see what you can do. So I want you to write. If you need to pause the video for more time, go ahead and do so. Okay, the dogs howled, which means our timer is up. So let's talk about the main idea here. What I'm going to do is tell you what I would have put so you can compare your answer. And really your answer should be pretty close to this. This isn't one of those things where everybody's right. It's kinda, your answer should be somewhat similar to this. So let's look at the main idea. I'm going to say women in the U.S. were important to the war effort by working in factories. The United States advertised for women to work. And that's it. And this is actually probably even a little bit more detailed than necessarily what you need. Let's look at this, break this down. The who. Now who can be a country, it can be an idea, but really just it's either a person or a country generally within history. So you got the he, that's a who. You got this woman here, and the U.S. And so I didn't work in the he, but I did say I looked in the women in the U.S. Women in the U.S. were important to the war effort, and I got that from this description right here. Women provided much needed labor during World War II. Remember, that's fair game. And then also, then you go to the what. Well, I got they needed to apply. That's how I got this advertising part. And the job he left behind. So this is a pretty simple main idea. Hopefully you ended up with something similar to that. So check your answer according to that. Okay, this one we're going to do together. Document 1. First, let's break down the who's. You got the U.S., greatly stimulated by war, even more so than World War I. The Depression was brought decisively to an end. New industrial complexes were built all over the United States, spared the physical destruction of the war. The U.S. economy dominated the world economy. After 4 years of military buildup, the U.S. had also become the leading military power. The position of the U.S. as a world leader is now more obvious than ever. Okay, so the only who in here is the United States. So I know right away my answer is going to start with something like the United States. Now, what did they do? Well, let's see. It was greatly stimulated by war, depression, and they built more. This one here says they built more factories, industrial complexes. They weren't destroyed by the war. This is a lot. So they're all kind of positive things. So one of the things you do in the main idea is you're somewhat summarizing the United States became the most powerful military and economy in the world. And you know what? I could go on and say why, but this is an essay. This is not an essay. It's just the main idea. I'm going to stop right there. Because that gives me the main idea. I don't have to say why. Well, because they had more factories and they were spared the physical destruction. I might reference that later in my essay, but right here I'm just trying to get the main idea down. That's the main idea. The United States became the most powerful military and economy in the world. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit after World War II. Boom. Now I even have a bit there. That's where you get through. First, figure out who the heck we're talking about. U.S. What'd they do? And you know what? You can kind of think about the why, but you don't necessarily have to put it in your main idea. Remember, the whole point of the main idea is so that you can use it in an essay. Okay, let's look at document 3. Now, I'm going to read it for you, then I'm going to give you 2 minutes again to work on getting the main idea. All right, United Nations membership, 1945 to 1994, so that covers almost 50 years. Here's the number of countries in the UN here, and the years this way. So it's getting, this at the bottom here is closer to our time. This up here, and it says number of countries in the UN. The United Nations was created after World War II to keep world peace after the failure of the League of Nations. What is the main idea of this document? So here we go. You got your time. Get it out of the way, and away you go. Alright, that's your time. I bet you were able to get the main idea of this source here. So let's look at this. So the WHO, gotta be the UN. Doesn't really fit that it's anything else. So I'm going to start with the United Nations. And they're going to say did what? Well, look how this line is going up. As time goes on, it's going up, which means that there's more nations. So the United Nations grew in membership from 1945 to 1994. That's it, that it grew in membership. I'm not editorializing, I'm not saying anything about it. That's it. It just grew in membership. That's what I know. Started out here about 50 countries, ended up at maybe 190, 185. That's it. The United Nations grew in membership. Now, in your essay, you might use that to say the United Nations was an important impact. It's a political impact. Doesn't matter. Right here, you're just trying to jot down something so you know what the main idea of this source is. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned a lot.